I convened this hearing of the Subcommittee of Overseeing Educational Reform in Pennsylvania. Today, the United States has greatly fallen behind our global counterparts in terms of educational standards and practices. Our students are learning theory without practical application to their lives. They are unable to grasp fundamental concepts and instead are focused on memorization and regurgitation techniques. In order to combat this demise of the American education system, we are looking to revolutionize the educational curriculum in Pennsylvania by adopting Finland's cross-subject teaching style. By focusing on learning by topic instead of subject, students are better prepared to learn the application of what is learned inside the classroom, as well as understand the interplay between subjects. They are no longer compartmentalized by the rigid education practices currently in place, but instead allowed flexibility. Here to further expand on this proposal, we have several witnesses to speak on the benefits and implications of this new reform. Our first speaker is Dr. Larry Logos, who has a PhD in higher education and is a scholar of global teaching methodologies.
Thank you, Chairman. Currently, the education system in the U.S. as a whole, and specifically in Pennsylvania, is fragmented. There is a huge educational gap between the wealthiest schools and the poorest schools. Currently in Pennsylvania, there is a direct correlation between socioeconomic factors and standardized test performances. In part, this is due to the relatively laissez-faire approach to education, where some schools succeed, but others are trapped in perpetual underperformance. This is a problem that we should begin to address in Pennsylvania, as a push towards reaching national and international levels of literacy in language and mathematics. Currently, school systems teach by subject, whether it's math, economics, or geography. Each study is isolated in its own practice, devoid of any real-world applications. Especially in inner-city schools, underachievement is exacerbated by lack of meaningful, engaged education that gives students the opportunity to apply what they've learned to real vocations and careers. Instead, our system forces every student to learn the same material that's been taught in the same way for decades. Our failure can be seen in international rankings in reading, math, and science performance scores. 19 countries scored above us in reading, 22 in science, and 29 in mathematics. As a first world developed country, we are falling behind in education. Conversely, the Finnish school system scores exceptionally well in these areas despite their lower hours per week spent in school, starting education at the later age of 7, and eliminating student competition in standardized testing. They've consistently placed in the top 3 for all categories of educational proficiency indicators since their broad educational reform in the 1970s. They are the paradigm of Western education, and the policies have made a tremendous impact on student ability and performance. Recently, Finland has implemented trials of an education plan that would combine individual traditional subjects into broad, applicable topics. In this approach, geography, history, and economics could possibly be combined to European politics, with each subject contributing to the education of a theme. Math could be more readily combined with science, and languages could be embedded into social studies courses. This reform has already been applied to schools in the Finnish capital, Helsinki.
Our next witness is Ms. Ethel Ethos, a public high school teacher in the Pennsylvania school system and an active leader of the teacher union. She will be speaking today on the present status of classrooms in Pennsylvania, as well as the implications that this proposal has on the standards of teachers.
As a teacher of many years, I believe that education is the key to America's future success. For that reason, I'm always open to new methods to improve our education system. With the emergence of Finland's new teaching by topic method, which integrates multiple subjects into a single lesson, I think that it is important to assess whether adopting such a system in the United States would be a positive step towards establishing a better education system. I believe that adopting a more integrated approach to teaching would be a positive reform because it would allow teachers to demonstrate more creativity in the classroom. For example, one may wish to integrate the study of various foreign languages into a geography lesson so that students may see more real-world applications to their schooling. The lack of creativity allowed in the classroom is a common complaint of many public school teachers because teaching their students how to perform well on their state standardized tests must be their #1 focus. This is because their school's funding, as well as their salary, often are affected by these scores. I believe that eliminating the number of tests students take each year in favor of teaching them more real-world applications would be well received by many teachers because it would create a more positive learning environment for both teacher and student. When assessing the effect the teachers' unions may have on this reform, it is important to realize that 95% of teachers in Finland are unionized. Because of this high percentage, teachers' unions are largely influential in Finland's education system. Therefore, the teachers there are clearly quite satisfied with the system, and there are many reasons why. First off, teachers in Finland are much more respected than they are in the United States because they are credited for serving society by preparing students for the future. Teachers there possess a great amount of autonomy and authority in creating their curriculum, and they earn a salary very close to that of the national average, which makes teaching an extremely desirable and competitive process. Not only would these positive factors encourage teachers' unions to vote in favor of this reform, but they would also increase the amount of power and prestige that every teacher has in the United States. This prestige would likely promote greater teacher effectiveness and increase the competitiveness to become a teacher, thus increasing the quality of those who aspire to become teachers.
Our final witness that we call today is student Patty Pathos, who studies under the RCL School District, where student performance has been very low over the past decade. She is here to talk about what issues that she has seen with the current teaching methods, as well as speak to the students' opinion of this new reform.
I stand here today to inform you all of the trials and tribulations we students face every day in America, especially at some of the lowest performing institutions. We are truly judged every single day in school, whether by our peers, a test, the administration, or even our own teachers. It seems as if everyone gives up hope on us because we cannot get the best test scores. We're forced to study topics that will appear on a test without being informed of any of the applications they may yield. So many students become lazy or unmotivated because they do not see the benefit of going to school, especially since they don't see any real uses of the material they are learning. My peers and I are pushed from grade to grade, even if we did not learn the material. We simply become someone else's problem next year and receive little to no extra help from the teachers. But we want to learn. We want to be able to study, to innovate, to develop, to explore. But it seems as if everyone else doesn't care enough to help us. And why is that true? Finland's classrooms are composed of students of all races, abilities, and class groups. 30% of children receive some sort of out-of-school help from an educator within the first 9 years of education, and children don't start school until they are 7 years old. They receive at least 15-minute breaks between each lesson, no matter what age, and are provided 75 minutes of playtime a day, as opposed to 27 in the US at younger ages. Finland boasts the smallest gap between strong and weak students. 2/3 of the students go to college, and 93% graduate high school. Finnish students rarely come to school hungry or improperly clothed. The children are never tracked in Finland like they are in the US because statistics reveal nothing about learning abilities according to Finland's education leaders. The students there are taught all the applications of everything they are learning, especially within the new Teach by Topic system. This is significantly lacking within the US. Finland's education system truly works for the students, as it should. Why can't the US model something like this? For a country that has come so far in such a short time, that houses so much diversity, and that boasts such a free, innovative system, why is our education system so far behind? Why are we not working in the best way for the students? It must be changed if we want to be fair for all of the young American people.
As we have heard from our expert testimonies, the new Teach by Topic system has beneficial consequences on the educational system of Pennsylvania by more effectively preparing our students with the correlation of concepts over multiple disciplinary fields. Of course, implementation and integration of this reform is no simple task. We must discuss the time, funding, and societal changes this proposal will have, as well as the new requirements for high school teachers and students under the system. Dr. Larry Logos will first speak on the logistics of implementing the new curriculum.
Teaching by topic requires several reforms that we should begin to have in place. In these first few years, we should begin to change our teaching policies to reflect the collaborative effort among students rather than a competitive one. As a capitalistic society, this may seem counterintuitive, but all the research points to the fact that education thrives in community and not in isolation. Teaching by topic is fundamentally driven by interdisciplinary methods in teaching our students to think as a network because we're teaching them to act as one. At the same time, we should pass laws that raise the standards, competitiveness, and authority of teachers. The success of topic teaching lies in highly motivated, energetic, qualified, and intellectual teachers who can handle the widening scope of educational functions. Teaching by topic is no easy task, as it requires extensive planning and coordination. New policies for upcoming teachers should be more rigorous, creating an atmosphere that encourages only the best to become educators in the new, demanding paradigm. These two policies can be optimally implemented within the next few years. The first phase, policies of teaching towards topic, will require about 1 to 2 years of development among Pennsylvania's educational board. After an appropriate curriculum outline is approved, we can expect immediate effect on school systems across the state. We should expect more enthusiasm and enjoyment towards learning in a safe environment that encourages applicability over rote theory. The second step of teacher education begins now, but will take effect once education majors have graduated from the new system, which we can see at the earliest 3 years and latest 8 years from those that pursue master's degrees. Once a task force of these highly trained teachers are placed within school systems with expertise and immersion in this style of learning, topic teaching will take on as talent begins to fully utilize the new system.
We now call Ms. Ethel Ethos to examine the new requirements and training that will be placed on teachers and administrators under this new Teach by Topic system.
In order for our teachers to teach by topic, as they are doing in Finland, the United States will need to adopt a new process for preparing our teachers. The most guaranteed method to achieve success will be to prepare teachers in a manner similar to that used by Finland. In Finland, students who are graduating high school can apply to become a teacher. The first step in the application process is a written exam, followed by observation of a candidate's communication and social interaction skills in a mock classroom setting, and lastly, an interview stage. The process is highly selective, as only 5,000 out of 20,000 applicants are selected. This high number of applicants, due to the desirability of the job, allows Finland to choose the brightest students to train to become teachers. One of the reasons there is such a small gap between the bottom and top tier students in Finland is that Finland has only 8 universities that offer a teacher preparation program, and there is no alternative route to becoming a teacher. For this reason, the country is able to maintain consistency across all 8 of its programs. Although this is not feasible here, given the size of the United States compared to Finland, it is definitely important to consider the importance in consistency in training of all of our teachers. Another contributing factor to Finnish teachers' success is that a master's degree is required for all basic and high school level teachers. This is possible because Finland funds this education, as their teachers are extremely critical to their nation's success. While it is by no means in the United States education budget to subsidize graduate school for all those who aspire to be teachers, requiring this level of education for all future teachers would still likely produce a sufficient number of qualified teachers. Although this method is not perfect, it would likely increase the consistency and quality of our teachers, and therefore the quality of our education system.
Finally, Tate Pathos is here to discuss student involvement with the proposed system and how students will have a role in designing their own personalized educational program.
If we adopt this new education system that Finland has developed, the student becomes in control of his or her education. The education system will then begin to work for the student rather than for someone else's wallet. We could see significant increases in graduation rates and college enrollment rates because the students will realize how important education is for their futures. By understanding the applications of their educations, students will be eager to learn in order to better their lives. They will be able to explore topics they are passionate about and unlock the potentials that these topics hold. The students will feel like they mean something to society if teachers give them more assistance and attention. When someone is struggling, the last thing they want is to be shunned. That is much like the current American education system, especially in low performance areas. Education should be up to the students to determine. It should be designed to place the interests of the students at the forefront, as the main goal of education is to encourage and foster learning. A student is defined as someone who takes interest in learning a specific topic. That is why we should teach by topic. Not only would it fulfill the true definition of a student, but it would also foster true learning and intellectual achievement within the student, and that is a trait that cannot be priced or replaced.
Any other comments or debate? Well, this concludes today's hearing. I want to thank all the members today. We are currently at a crossroads in regards to education in this nation. The decisions that we make today will have deep implications on our posterity. Therefore, it is our civic duty to examine this reform thoroughly, with the younger generation's best interests in mind. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
These two steps can be policies of teaching. Sorry.
The number of tests students each are.
Our final witness that we call today is student Patty Pathos.
It's Patty.
So dumb I am. Are we still recording?
Do I have to do the pate thing?
Studies under the RCL school district, where student performance has been very low over the last decade. She is here to talk about it's just like we're talking about RCL. The decisions that we make today will have deep implications on our posterity. Posterity, not posterity.
That's such a mess. Go learn today, America.